Welcome to the very first episode of the Softball on SI podcast, your go-to source for college softball news, trends, and expert analysis. I'm your host, Marin Angus Combs, and I'm joined by Softball on SI contributing writer Nicole Reitz. And today we're breaking down the start of the 2026 season, opening weekend, highlights, trending players, what's to come next. And we're also joined by a very special guest, Belmont pitcher Maya Johnson, who threw a perfect game, the very first game of the year, and she beat Georgia. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Maya in and let's talk about this epic weekend that you had in Athens. I mean, holy moly. What was that like? I mean, that's the first game out, and did you know it was happening?
So I'm very aware of when things like that are happening. They always they have the myth with perfect games where it's like no one say anything to them. Well, I already know the whole time. I'm so aware of it. But I didn't think about it until later into the game though, because I was only 11 strikeouts away from 800 career strikeouts going into that game. So, my goal and mindset, obviously, other than just getting the win for my team, was to try and see if I could get the 11 Ks I needed to get to 800 in game one versus game two. So I was focused on that. And then once I hit that, all of my focus shifted to the fact that I was like, oh, shoot, it's like the fifth inning and I'm throwing a perfect game right now. Okay.
Are you superstitious during that perfect game? Do you care if your teammates talk to you, high five you, things like that? You know, in baseball, they're like, stay away, stay on the other end of the dugout, don't come near me type of thing.
I'm kind of like that anyway. I'm superstitious almost all the time. I always have my sunglasses on. I have to be the first one to pick the ball up when I go out there. I'm very superstitious anyway, but every inning, I won't get, the only person that I give a fist bump to or anything when I go back out to the field is my catcher, and people know that. Everybody, it's you can tap me on the shoulder and say hey, go get him. But I'm not engaging with it. I am one track mind, but I usually in a game anyway, I'll either in between innings go down to the bullpen or walk to the end of the dugout. I'm in my own space because I live so far up here with adrenaline that I need my little bit of wind down time away. And then it's okay, when I go back up and out, my adrenaline goes back up. So
you've had a pretty tough off season, and we'll get deeper into that with your battle with lupus and going through chemo that you've talked about on social media. But knowing everything you went through, everything you battled this off season, just how good did it feel after you threw that perfect game?
yeah, it was pretty good. I don't know. I think all focus was I was really nervous going into week one, just knowing that I had wrapped up chemo and obviously I trained throughout all of it and I looked really good in live ABs when we were throwing those inter squad wise in January, but you never know if something like that's going to impact you. I think safe to say it didn't impact my performance, thank goodness. But I was really nervous going into opening weekend. I think I felt a little bit more of the pressure simply because I did choose to stay at the mid-major, which is the best decision I could have ever made. Like I said, academics worked out, and so I was able to stay at Belmont, which is where I wanted to be anyway. But I felt a little bit more pressure. I want to play professionally. That's an aspiration I have. And so not having maybe quite as high RPI conference schedule because I'm at the mid-major, I felt a little bit more pressure just in general to have those good performances early on against some of our bigger opponents and in pre-conference and things like that. And so just so that way I can still keep my name in the running for AUSL, and then you have the PSL. So I felt a little bit more pressure. So throwing a perfect game right off the bat felt pretty good. I was like, well, if there was any pressure, there's not anymore.
What was the pressure though when that second game against Georgia? I mean, you're okay, a little relief when you have a home run hit in the first inning and you get to go pitch with a lead, but still the ranked opponent, the SEC opponent, did you feel it then?
Not really. I told my team, give me 2 runs and we have it before the game even started. So we got 2 runs in the first. And I mean, there was a couple, I watched the game back and I think all weekend, both in the first game I threw against Mo State and in Georgia, it wasn't my best work. I talked with Coach Matthews after the end of the weekend. I was like, yeah, overall performance, a 6.5 out of 10. I was fine. I wasn't polished. So great results given the fact that I don't think I was my sharpest. But I told my teammates beforehand, I knew from the moment like before the game even started, I was like, we're going to win. I said, give me 2 runs and we have it. And so we got 2 runs early. And even though I had some base runners on here or there on some bloop singles, I think there was like one ball that was truly genuinely hit hard. I was like, okay, it's fine. I was a little bit stressed because I was like, gosh, I just got to stop making it interesting for myself and putting the leadoff runner on. Because that happened like the first like 4 innings straight. I was like, I'm just doing it for dramatic effect at this point. But yeah, no, I told my teammates beforehand, I said, give me 2 and we have it. So we got 2 early. So I think that just immediately took some stress off.
So I'm just curious, like, how long do you guys, like, you had such a great weekend, such a great start to the season. How long do you celebrate before you're already like thinking about next weekend?
I mean, I took a 2-hour nap on the bus on the way home from Georgia and then watched the game and had notes on what I wanted to do to fix before next week. So same day. I crashed real hard after the game. Like I said, I took that nap, but I had already watched film and had a list of things that I was talking to Coach Matthews about on the bus that I wanted to do better for this coming weekend. So pretty quick turnaround for me at least. I think the team, we enjoyed it for a day or two, like even now, like enjoying it, but I'm ready and looking forward to the weekend ahead. So
That's amazing. I mean, you were amazing. You were our first ever softball on SI pitcher of the week. That's the first one we've ever handed out. So I'm so happy that you won. Being a Nashville native here, I feel a little connected in that way. But I also want to go back, like you mentioned, like you did go in the portal in the off season, and that was a huge storyline in college softball period. I mean, everyone is waiting to see what happens, and then you end up back at Belmont. But what was that experience like for you? Like, was your phone just ringing off the hook? And I mean, what kind of money were you offered? I just like nitty gritty. Let's go.
yeah, I found out I was in the portal, like officially had gotten my name put in the portal by a call from a coach. It was an SEC school actually that had called me and I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm in the portal now." And from that moment on, I think it was about 3 days straight of just like 8 a.m. to like 10 or 11 p.m. because you had your West Coast schools and I'm on East Coast time. Like I was on the phone nonstop and I always thought I was scheduling enough time in between calls to like give myself a break and I never was because I yap a lot too. So it was just nonstop turnaround. It was literally a full-time job. My parents like ordered pizza to the house because I literally wasn't even having like enough time to eat. So it was really busy. Busier than I think I ever imagined it being. There was a lot of money thrown around. Like I think a lot of people thought because I had such a great season that I was entering for money and like that just wasn't the case. Like money wasn't going to be the thing that got me somewhere. And so yeah, there was like I don't even know if there was a couple 100,000 at places that was thrown around. But yeah, that like I think like ever in the day and age of like NIL, rev share, things like that, that's something that I think a lot of people thought that was going to be the deciding factor for me, but I didn't even want to go in the portal to begin with. So
Oh, okay. But you didn't want to go. Was it more of it was more of an academic reason why you went in, right?
yeah, so previously at Belmont, we had a Master's of Science in Nursing program. And so I had just planned to do that or like do a Master's in Public Health. And I like didn't pay much thought into that because I didn't consider the fact that majors get cut and changed. And so like Public Health had gotten cut and the Master's program, they got rid of it. So it was like then transitioning in the nursing program to a fully in-person doctoral nursing program. And I'm like, there's no way I can do that with softball. Like would love that, but like no way. Well, within the last year, I hadn't kept up on it. I guess they had made the transition to like a hybrid model. So now it's fully online, other than like clinicals in your second and third year, except 1 week a semester you're in person. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. So like right now I'm in 4 doctoral level classes. I'm getting my doctorate right now in nursing.
You just do it all. So when you found that out and then decided to go back to Belmont, what were the conversations like with your coaches? Because I'm sure they were probably trying to find another arm to fill.
Yeah, so it happened really quickly actually. And it was very sudden. Like I said, my coaches like there was no hard feelings there. Like, Coach Matthews and I were talking throughout it. Like she supported me 100% with that, which was awesome, like to still have support from her. But when we started working this out, I didn't know if some of the logistics were going to work out. And there was a girl that had come on a visit. She actually ended up coming here. She's great. She's a great addition to our staff. She was from Campbell, Hannah Lear. She had come on her visit, and I didn't know if by the time Coach Matthews was going to need to offer her, if I was going to be figured out with what I was going to say. And I like care about you guys and she would be a great addition to the program. I was like, I think you need to offer her. I'm like, that's going to suck for me if it ends up working out where I'd be able to come back, but like, you need to offer her because she'd be a great addition to the program. Like, I care about you guys. Like, I'm a proud Belmont alum from my undergrad. Like, I love the program. Like, I think she would be a great addition. And so that happened, but then some things behind the scenes also happened and they were able to make it work. And so both of us are here and it's a great arm for our staff. And I think it gives us another really unique look on the staff. So I think it's just best of both worlds. I was able to come back and we added another fantastic arm to our staff, which is awesome.
That's awesome. Nicole talked about undergoing chemo in the off season. When did that stop? Is it like
my last round was January 16th. So like my last infusion was January 16th.
Holy moly.
Yes. And I got my scans and everything done and things look great. So yeah, my blood work looks good. So we're in a good spot right now. So yeah, that happened. I found out about it. I had some abnormal lab work and some abnormal testing like that second week in October. And I kept it a total secret. I planned to not tell any of my teammates or my coaches and just not tell anybody. But then I told Coach Matthews and I made a plan to like how I was going to train and how my doctors were going to manage it. And then the day of my first infusion, I told the team, I said, hey, everybody sit down, hang out, hang back for practice. I was like, so I had some lab work. This is what's going on. And I'm starting chemo today. And everybody was just like shocked. I really don't think my teammates were expecting that to be what I said. And from that moment, like immediately my entire team rallied around me, like my coaches and my strength and conditioning coach, our pitching, and just like our whole staff, our athletic trainer, everyone just rallied around me, made sure I was taken care of. And it was just incredible. And I went through that all throughout like the second half of October, all of November, had like a small break for part of December and then finished up in January. So yeah, busy time. Now I'm just on some maintenance meds back to like more of my normal regimen and I'm doing well. And like I said, didn't impact my play. I was still training and lifting. It worked out really well. We were going right into 8-hour weeks. We had just finished 20 hours. Like I had my first infusion on like the last day of 20 hours, which worked out really well. So I would get my infusions Friday afternoon. Saturday and Sunday were naturally off days from 8-hour weeks. And then Mondays I would like have like a really light bullpen. And then my heavy work would be like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday mornings before I would go back for like my infusion again. That ended up working like a pretty good schedule. I was still lifting 3 days a week, still doing my bullpens, like all the things. So I think my teammates probably had the same reaction you're having right now. I think a lot of them were like, I would have taken 3 weeks or 3 months off if I had to do that.
You're like Superwoman.
My whole thing is that I can't take that time off and be prepared to pitch well during season. Like I can't take 3 months off and then expect to pitch at a high caliber going into season. I need to be ready. Like I'm operating under the impression that like the infusions were going to work and take care of it and I was going to be good to go. And how I'm such a competitor that it would have been infuriating for me if I like body wise felt good and was like in a stable place with my lupus, but I had taken 3 months off from training and then I looked like crap when I'm pitching. So I was like, I'm operating under the impression that this is going to work. So like, I just got to push through the suck. And like, there's some days where I'm going to feel like crap and I'm going to be tired, but like, I just got to operate under the fact it's going to work. And I need to be ready to go when season comes around. Like, you still got to be on your A game.
So when there were days you probably weren't feeling very well and still had to go through a bullpen, what was your motivating factor to get you through that?
Well, there were some tears some days. There were some bullpens where like Monday bullpens were hard because like they were more of like a move around bullpen anyway, but like I would feel so tired and so nauseous. Like I'm like sucking on hard candy the whole bullpen because I was nauseous and that works really well for nausea actually. But like I like have like Jolly Ranchers and stuff in my mouth the whole bullpen. There were some tears, but I think a lot of it was just like looking at the people that were lifting me up and being like, okay, like I love softball. I'm being well taken care of. Like picture this 7th inning, you're exhausted in a game. Your teammates are looking to you and you have in the back of your mind that you went through chemo in the fall. That 7th inning is going to seem so easy. Like literally, it's like, I just did chemo. I can deal with bases loaded, that whatever. Like, oh, game, 1-run game, game's on the line. Their best hitter who leads the nation in home runs is up at the plate. So what? I went through chemo. This is nothing. Like I am going to be more mentally tough than anybody because no one's done what I just did in the off season. So I think like having that mindset that like, if I can get through that suck, like everything else is going to seem easy. So looking at that and then just really leaning into all of my teammates and my coaches who've just been incredible. And I could lean on them when I was not doing well and they just kind of lifted me up.
Did they come sit with you, like, while you were getting your infusions? Like, or,
So I do not really like asking for help. It actually took me a couple weeks. Like I drove myself the first 2 weeks and not because of a lack of people that wanted to. Everybody offered and I refused. But a lot of people wanted to sit with me with infusions, but I was like, no, I got this. I don't need anyone, whatever. So they would drive me to and from my infusions and like pick me up and like bring me food and hang out at my place after. They did take me to appointments or like scans and things like that. But I was just kind of rocking. I would make a lot of TikToks. I have a lot of TikTok drafts from my infusion. But like there was like one or two ER trips too where like they came and sat with me in the ER and stuff like that. So yeah, they were there and a lot of people wanted to sit with the infusions, but there was some level of independence I wanted to maintain still. So
When you were first going through this, what did you like ask your doctor or tell your doctor like, "Hey, I'm still gonna train, so like, is it possible?"
yeah, so my physicians are great and I think they have a little bit of respect in the fact that like I am a registered nurse. I'm going to be a nurse
Uh-huh.
practitioner. So like I'm coming at it not just from like the patient lens, but from the lens of the fact that like as providers, if it's safe for for a patient to do something, we should be getting them the best quality of life possible. And so I think like my providers understand that and they recognize the fact that like if it's something I want to do and it's safe for me to do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm also just not, I don't take no for an answer. So they knew there was going to be some workaround with it. Like my rheumatologist that I've had, like my main rheumatologist from back home, I've had her since I was 15 when I first got diagnosed. So she knows that I'm serious and going to do it. So they're really, really supportive. Again, like also my athletic trainer, I told her, I said, I'm still training. And she's like, okay, but like, we're going to protect you from yourself. Like there was a lot of negotiating with our strength coach and like, our pitching coach, Coach K, where I'd be like 80 pitches today. And she's like 60. And I'm like 65. And she's like, I lowballed you at 60 knowing you were going to come back and negotiate. So I think like my physicians know that one, they respect my opinion because I am a provider and like understand that like if it's safe for me to do it, I'm going to manage it well. I'm going to be responsible. And also like I'm operating from that lens, but also having known me for my entire career. I mean, my rheumatologist is the same rheumatologist that was working with me when the University of Pittsburgh team physicians wouldn't clear me to play. That's how I ended up at Belmont is because they saw that I had lupus and wouldn't even clear me initially before any of this. So she knows that I'm not going to take no for an answer. I transferred schools and moved 8 hours away so I could still play. So she knew I was probably going to still do it anyway. So do it in the safest way possible. She wasn't going to put up the fight of saying, "Oh no, you can't do it." She's going to say, "Okay, you can do it, but let's figure out some modifications so you can be smart with it still."
You mentioned Pittsburgh. They had to know you had lupus before you committed, right?
Yes, 100%. I've had lupus since my sophomore year of high school.
So then why does that happen? Or how does that happen when they get you there and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we're not gonna clear you."
I have no idea because I found out the day before I moved in, like, and keep in mind, I came off of a great senior high school season. I had a really rigorous summer travel ball season that senior year. I found out I got a call from the head coach at the time there the day before I moved into school. So, like, I'm this young 18-year-old moving away from home for the first time. And it was like, by the way, our team physician finally looked at all the paperwork you sent in 6 months ago, and she's not going to clear you at first. I'm like, okay. So I go down there and she goes, yeah, like you just got a lot going on. I want you to see all of our team, like all of the specialists through UPMC. So I went and saw all the specialists through UPMC and I have like a stack of clearance letters saved in a file on my phone from this. I got clearance letters from all of them and I bring them back to her and I'm like, can I get cleared now? And then she goes, well, that's great, but they don't know what it's like to be a Division I athlete. Like I'm still not going to clear you. And I'm just like, okay. And then this was also the time of COVID. So then my roommates and I ended up getting COVID. I ended up having like a post-viral issue with my stomach that's like now resolved, but like the worst luck ever. And then she was like, well, now I'm really not going to clear you to play. And I'm like, so I waited until the ad drop period ended second semester and I entered the portal in January. I got to be a NARP for a semester. So like that was fun, but
And then you tried to transfer to Bowling Green, right?
I actually, there was a bunch of other schools in the portal that just completely blacklisted me. They were like, if she didn't clear you, like, we're not going to clear you. She's on like one of the ACC advisory boards and stuff like that. went to Bowling Green, like had medical visits as part of my like visits through the recruiting process, committed there. And then a month into committing there, the coach at the time left to go to Bradley.
Mhm.
So I was going to follow her to Bradley, which is another school in the MVC. And then that team physician trained under and was very good friends with the Pitt team physician. So I get a call from the coach at Bradley, who I was again planning on following. And she goes, "So our doctor's not going to clear you." Which now it's kind of silly because now I'm at an opposing school in the conference. And it's like, man, you wish you would have cleared me. But it was one of those things where I was like, there's no way that you went to like the one school in the entire universe where the team physician's best friends with the team physician from Pitt, and I don't get cleared. And it was just, and Coach Matthews happened to reach out and be like, seems like stars are lining, like our pitching plan fell through, we'd still love to have you at Belmont. And it was like rush, like I didn't commit until like mid-July that summer, and like was literally like had a month before school started before I decided to come down to Belmont. So yeah.
I love how open and honest you're being with us.
I do too. It's part of my
I mean,
story, like
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you end up at Belmont, a team that traditionally isn't known for softball, right? It's a basketball school.
right.
And all of a sudden, Belmont's a softball school. And like you've brought this notoriety to campus. And I mean, I text your athletic director like every weekend. I'm like, hey, are you watching? Like I, and I just love how you're getting people on board with softball in Nashville who haven't been involved with softball in Nashville. It's
Yeah.
so cool to see.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where like I think that's such a testament too to like the buy-in Belmont has had in with softball within the last like 5-6 years, specifically
Mhm.
even before I got here. Like Coach Matthews has done a phenomenal job. Our athletic director Scott Corley has done a phenomenal job supporting us. I mean, right before I got here, they had just built all brand new indoor facility with our cages and our locker room and the baseball softball training room like over by our fields. That they never had that before, which really just elevated our program in itself. And so between that and just like, I mean, we got the iPitch machine this year and we have Go Routes. Like the amount of stuff they've done to invest in our program. We got a brand new video board, all of like the padded outfield fences. So like elevation to like our field and stuff as well. They've just done such a good job with buy-in and softball and like making our program feel supported that I feel like it would be hard to not be successful because you just have such a buy-in from our athletic department and from our university. And then just Coach Matthews is so dedicated. Our entire coaching staff is just so dedicated to us as human beings. And when you have people that are pouring into you as a human, it's so easy to perform at a high level. Like, I don't think there's any question about if the program was going to be successful under Coach Matthews and here at Belmont when she got here, because she's just done a phenomenal job. And so I think it's just really cool to see like the things that we've built through that. I mean, it's just she cares about us not just as a softball program, and that's so much more important. I mean, we led the entire country in service hours last year as a program. Yeah, we had over 3,000 service hours as a team. Like, we serve the community. We have team Bible study. We call each other our best friends because they are my best friends. And so when you have that much connection with each other and that much buy-in to people as humans, I feel like it's really hard to not have a successful program.
Yeah, you achieved just so much last season. First NCAA tournament appearance, first conference title. You led in so many categories. And so now in your final season, what are you hoping to achieve? I mean, you already threw a perfect game, your third perfect game, mind you. What are you hoping to achieve and then get ready for possibly a pro
Yeah,
opportunity?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I have the expectation for us to be really successful. I want us to repeat and get our another bid. Hopefully, make a regional final. I would love to be in a super regional or even the World Series too. Like, I think we can genuinely hang and beat anyone. So I think those are all things that are definitely goals for us this year. I want to take regular season. We finished a game back last year, and I think that it's something that we're capable of. We had a couple slip ups, a couple losses we probably shouldn't have had last year. And so I think like there's definitely some room for growth there that I think could be a really good team goal and a good program goal. For individual goals, I'm on the track to hopefully get 1,000 career strikeouts. That would be a really cool milestone to have. Um, like I said, I just hit 800 through the first game, so I think I need like 180 something more to get to 1,000. So definitely doable. Um, So I think that would be something that would be really cool for me. And I think for me, the biggest thing is just like proving to everybody, like having that chip on my shoulder that like last year wasn't a fluke. I still want to be in the conversation. I want to be considered one of the elite pitchers out there. So I think just like continuing to prove that last year wasn't just like a breakout season and I'm going to plateau. Like I'm continuing to get better every year and every season. And like I said, I want to prove that I should be and deserve to be a national name that's known, but I don't take that lightly. I have to continue to improve and continue to perform at a high level. So that's something that is a day-to-day goal, not just oh, I want to be known. A lot of that falls back on me and how I perform and how I train. So those are goals for myself and for our program, but I really think that there's a lot of things that we could do to be successful. I want another 40-win season. That would be great. So lots of things. Oh, I would love to be an academic All-American. So I have to, this last week I joke I was a little bit more of an athlete student than a student athlete. So I need to lock back in and make sure that I have continue to have the grades for that as well. So that would be cool to do as well. So yeah, lots of things, lots of goals.
An academic All-American and a doctoral program. Like that's I don't think that happens very often.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I think you can achieve it all. I mean, like this is the first time we've ever spoken, and like just talking to you, I'm like, I'm on board. So I think it's incredible. I think everything that you've accomplished so far is incredible. And judging by your performance over the weekend, I think 1,000 strikeouts is gonna happen. And yeah, I think a professional career, and I think you being a mid-major pitcher, you do have that chip on your shoulder, right? Because when you look at who's being drafted and you look at where they go to school, you're not seeing necessarily a mid-major.
Which is interesting because you know who the AUSL Pitcher of the Year was this past year, and you know where she came from. She came from a mid-major. So I think there's just this little bit of a stigma, and again, this just contributes to the chip on my shoulder. Like I said, I have a list of schools this summer that didn't reach out to me. Georgia was one of them, and so I had that in the back of my mind before that game as well. So you play with the chip on your shoulder, and you play to prove people wrong. And I think seeing that there are very, very successful players in the mid-major that went from mid-major to professional. I mean, Georgina's incredible. Obviously, she was the AUSL Pitcher of the Year. I think that it just gives me all the more motivation to prove that there is great talent at the mid-major level and that you can hang and play with anybody. And so, yeah, chip on the shoulder, being at the mid-major, you got something to prove. But there's already girls that are out there doing that, and I think that's really cool. And I look up to Georgina a lot for that.
I thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Like, we'll have you back at some point, I'm
Yes.
sure. And I'm just so excited to see how you do the rest of the season and how Belmont does the rest of the season. So good luck with that.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Wow. I'm like a couple $100,000.
I know. That's crazy.
Wow. That was Maya Johnson, star left-handed pitcher from Belmont. What an incredible human.
Yes.
Like, not just a softball player, but a human being. Like, the chemotherapy, the being told, no, you're not going to play here, and then being an All-American, I mean, and more,
I cannot imagine being those schools who passed her up. Like,
right?
they got to be looking like kicking themselves now.
Right? Like, how do you think Tony Baldwin feels at Georgia? You know, like,
Right.
he didn't call her. She called him out. I mean, she said, Georgia didn't call me. And she felt like she had that chip on her shoulder, and double-digit strikeouts against Georgia held them to 1 run.
Yes.
And Belmont, she's really put the Bruins on the map.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But Belmont wasn't the only upset over the weekend. Mass chaos. I don't even know how else to describe it.
It's first week of softball, and it's just crazy. I'm kind of shocked, honestly. Like, I didn't really think it was going to be so chaotic as it was.
Right, that insane. Let's talk about it. Boston University beat Duke. U of A, the Wildcats, beat Oklahoma. They took 1 game from Oklahoma. Nebraska beat Texas. Southeastern Louisiana, I feel like we should just call them America's darlings after the regional last year. But Southeastern Louisiana beat Oregon. Michigan State beat Clemson. And of course, we talked about Belmont beating Georgia, but which of those really stood out to you over the weekend?
Honestly, I was a little I don't know if I'm shocked by Arizona beating Oklahoma, but I think I was a little shocked that Oklahoma lost right away because I feel like the past, like, I don't know how many seasons they've been undefeated, and then, like, it's by, like, April or something that someone comes in and beats them, and it's like, "Oh my gosh." So, kind of, like, getting Oklahoma's first loss out of the way the first weekend was kind of shocking a little bit, but then I do think Southeastern being Oregon that's huge.
Honestly, Oregon, after Lindsey Grime threw her no-hitter to start the year, I wasn't impressed. Um, they left Clearwater with 3 losses, and they went from being ranked number 5 to being, I think they're, like, 15 now.
Yes.
So, um, I know it's early. I know preseason rankings aren't we can't take them for the literal meaning of them. I mean, look, Texas. I mean, they gave up 18 runs to Nebraska, and with Tegan Cavan in the circle for the first game. I mean, same thing on the Nebraska side too. They lost to Washington. So, I can't take the rankings as seriously this early. I think
I
as the
agree.
season progresses, they'll start to shake out and we'll really start to see maybe where that cutoff is of the teams that really set themselves apart. And maybe it's just a top half and a bottom half. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. It is really hard with preseason because you're obviously kind of still looking at last season and then trying to place how transfers are gonna impact. So, yeah, I
Mhm.
do think we just need to see more ball before we really take those seriously.
Few players who I think could have made an impact early for their teams that weren't in the lineup. Let's talk about Jess Oakland from Duke. Um, we had her, I think a couple of us had her as, a transfer of the year, potentially a comeback player, somebody who would make an immediate impact. And she wasn't in the lineup for the Blue Devils this weekend. And I think you wrote about her
Yes.
and what you saw online about why she wasn't in the lineup.
Yes, very highly anticipated. She had to sit out last season after she transferred from Minnesota because of winter transfer rules, so Blue Devils fans have already been waiting for her to come back. And then people on social media start to notice she's not in the lineup, and she's anticipated to be not just a big bat, but also big in the middle infield. But then it was confirmed by a Duke spokesperson that she was out and then going to be reevaluated. So I don't want to like assume, but I'm guessing that means like some sort of injury, probably. So hopefully she's back and better this week. But Duke definitely needs
Right.
her.
Yeah, absolutely. Another person that we wrote about, Savannah Kirk from Grand Canyon. That was kind of like tucked into a preseason preview from Grand Canyon that was published just before the season started,
Oh.
I mean, 4 days ago. Today, we're recording on Tuesday, so literally right before they play their first game, they tuck in a paragraph into the preseason preview that says Savannah Kirk's gonna miss the season due to a knee injury that required surgery. So, typically, that means we're looking at a calendar year of her being out. I would hope she would be back next season, but I don't know, a timeline on if she would be ready to go the first week of the season. Huge blow for Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She set a record last year with 97 hits. I mean, she was one of the best hitters in softball, period. So the fact that she's not going to be in that lineup this year, I think really affects their lineup. She's one of their best hitters. Okay, after Savannah Kirk, I do think we need to touch on Jen Rocha, the Oklahoma pitching coach. Patty Gasso had a press conference, or she met with the media again today and just kind of talked about a little bit of what she's going through. And she didn't say exactly what it is, but Coach Gasso really talked about how she needed the team support and the team was praying for her and that it was a major health issue that she's dealing with. Some people on social media noticed Oklahoma was wearing orange ribbons over the weekend, which does indicate that there might be cancer either with her or with her family. So in the meantime, Carly Keeney, man, she stepped up. The whole story of Coach Gasso going and finding Carly, she saw that she was at Kinsey Hansen's wedding,
Yes.
and then she's like, "Get her to Norman right now, and let's see if we can bring her in and if this will work out." And short notice, but Oklahoma came out of Arizona 3-1. So that's, a win against Arizona State and a very good pitcher in Kinsey Brown. And then that's 2 wins from U of A at Hillenbrand Stadium, which is a very hostile environment for any opposing team. So I just think our thoughts and our prayers need to go out to Jen Rocha and Oklahoma, but they looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Carly can do, especially with Sydney Brazan, because this is now their third straight year depending on a transfer. They had Kelly Maxwell and then Sam Landry last year. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what she can do.
Yeah, between Berzon and Guacchino
Yes.
from Ole Miss, uh, surprised to see her there, but I think the 2 of them, I don't know how that looks now that Jen Rocha isn't part of this conversation, but Coach Gasso obviously believes in Carly, right? Or
Yes.
else she wouldn't have brought her in to be the pitching coach. So I think it may not be the exact storyline that we were looking for going into the season, but I think that we are going to see different pitchers than where they were before.
Yeah. And I'm never going to doubt Patty Gasso. She knows what she's doing.
No, never, never doubt her. It was. I, I have to bring up Jalen Adams though, in the one game, really the 2 games that she pitched against OU. She looked like an ace,
Yes.
and being in Big Ten country, I watched Jalen pitch for Iowa for 3 years, and I know how much she loved Iowa, and I
Okay.
know how much her family loved Iowa. So to see her move across the country and thrive, and I actually texted her mom after the first game against OU, and I just said, like, "She looks different, and a good different. She just looks confident, and she just looks like a pitcher." Like, I and I and it just, like, she had an aura about her. Like, the way that she carried herself in the circle, like, that's a U of A pitcher. She's a U of A pitcher. And then for her to she threw a no-hitter
Yeah.
against Southern Utah in her debut, and it's like, think of the legacy, that Arizona legacy of pitchers,
Oh, yeah.
from Jenny Finch to Alicia Hollowell to Taryn Moat to Kenzie Fowler. You can just go on and on and on about all the pitchers that have come through U of A, and none of them did what Jalen did.
No.
None of them threw a no-hitter in their debut for the Wildcats. That, I mean, if I'm Jalen, I'm like, "Okay, I made the right decision."
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Incredible. Incredible. Okay, so in addition to that, several records were broken over the weekend.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh. Like, where do we even start?
Uh, so let's see. Lindsey Grine
UCLA.
had UCLA. Oh my goodness. I'm just like in awe of that.
Oh my gosh. Like, first of all, I know they were called the Bash Brothers last year. I think they should be called the Bash Sisters, but it doesn't, like, I guess that doesn't work necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Grant and Jordan Woolery combined for 10 home runs and with 5 each. Megan Grant had 3 in 1 game. She had 2 in 1 inning. Uh, um, Jordan Woolery was named Big Ten Player of the Week, respectfully so. But that was insane.
Yes,
Truly
and
insane.
then, 2 f was it 2 or 3 freshmen that added to that too?
Yeah. And while we're talking about home runs, Alabama set their own record with 18 home runs in the opening
Yeah.
weekend. That surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us were looking at, or we were focused on what Alabama was going to do in the circle without Brisky.
Yes.
And their pitcher stepped up, Vic Moten, freshman of the week for the SEC. She was stellar. Alabama looked really good.
They had 18 home runs, which the previous record for an opening weekend was 10. Then they had 51 runs batted in, which is crazy. The previous was 48 in 2019. And then had a .881 slugging percentage, which previous record was 792, also in 2022.
Wow. The offense, the Crimson Tide is literally rolling.
Yeah.
So, out if you have the Tide coming up. You started to talk about Lindsey Grine earlier. That was another record-setting appearance for her.
Yes. She had, well, her first no-hitter, which I was kinda shocked. I don't know why I thought she had one before, but that was her first one. But she became the first Oregon Duck to have a no-hitter in a season opener. And she also had a career high 14 strikeouts, and that was in the win over Missouri.
Mhm. And then we had attendance records.
Yes.
Oklahoma and Arizona State set an attendance record, and then Texas Tech and Texas A&M set an attendance record, and then A&M overall for the weekend set an attendance record. So, records galore. And then while we're at it, while we're talking about records, I wanna bring this up because North Texas put out a they put out a post on X about their upcoming game against Oklahoma, and tickets are going on sale for $75. Have you ever spent $75 on a college softball ticket at a box office?
No.
No.
Because
No.
the games, at least I mean, I've only really been to, like, Big Ten games because I live in Big Ten area. They're usually just walk-in free.
Right.
So,
They're like $10.
hearing $75 is just crazy.
I mean, I know you wrote about, like, Oklahoma, the power of Oklahoma, right? And how they have this ability to raise the price of tickets no matter where they are. Memphis has never sold tickets until this season. And the price of their game against Oklahoma, what was that like? Was it 45 or something like that?
Yes, and then I feel like somebody else was also nearing, like, the
Ole
$70.
Miss. Ole
Yes.
Miss is coming up there, and they're jacking prices up for Ole Miss too. But really, it's the Oklahoma game that the price went woo. Not quite 75, but pretty close.
So, yeah, that
Pretty
goes
close.
back to, like, the Arizona State, attendance record when they played Oklahoma
Yeah.
in the season opener.
Even Oklahoma, like, I have not been to the new stadium yet, so I haven't been to Love Field yet. I would love to at some point, but even when you look at, like, what tickets are available there, it's just incredible to see, like, season tickets are sold out. The only thing left is standing room only. I just think that the trajectory of the sport and where we're at, like, I would love to see more programs end up like that. I think Alabama's
Yes.
there with the Rhodes House. I think, Nebraska adding tickets when Jordy transferred home, they added seats, they added more bleachers, they added everything to try and get more fans in the stadium, and they've done a good job of that. Stanford opening their new stadium over the weekend. Another writer of ours, Maddie Lewis, was actually able to go on Sunday to the Stanford and Cal game, and she thought the stadium was incredible. So it's so cool to see and hear even Maya talking about what Belmont has done for softball and the investment in the programs across the country, and especially at the mid-major level where you don't necessarily see that all that often, right?
Right.
Because softball's a non-revenue sport. And in the day and age of NIL, softball's a non-revenue sport. Sorry. It's the truth.
It is.
So I think it's awesome.
Northwestern too. Since they're spending their season playing at Rosemont, where now
Mhm.
the Chicago Bandits will be playing while their stadium gets renovations.
Yeah. We're seeing it across the country. Thoughts on episode 1, week 1? What are you hoping to see moving forward this season, Nicole?
Ugh, my gosh, the first weekend was just amazing. I don't even know, like, how can week 2 top it?
I think Clearwater is going to do a pretty good job of that.
Yes, looking forward to Clearwater. I am kind of interested in how Texas Tech is gonna do.
Mhm.
They'll face Florida State, which I think is gonna be a really good matchup. Um,
They
yeah.
have a tough slate. They've got the Huskers are gonna have a rematch with Texas Tech from last year too.
Yes.
I think Clearwater is going to be the tournament where we start to see who is truly ranked where they need to be.
I agree with that.
I think we're going to see Tennessee's up to number 2 this week. I think that's another one. We're going to be able to see Carlin Pickens throw against some of these teams that I've seen her in years past. And we're also going to have to see what Tennessee can do without Carlin Pickens in the circle because she cannot
Yes.
throw every game. So I think our Clearwater schedule is on the website. Clearwater preview is on the website. And if there's any other information that anyone needs, visit the website,
Yes. Follow us on social media.
sci.com/softball. So I think that's a wrap on our first episode.
Yes, how
So thanks again
exciting.
to Maya Johnson for joining us. Thank you, Nicole, for joining. Thank you to you listening for tuning in. We'll be back each week with the latest and greatest from college softball, trending players, and all of our expert insight to help keep you going. So don't forget to subscribe to the Softball on SI podcast. Follow us on social media at Softball on SI. And if you have any questions or moments from opening weekend that we didn't hit on, go ahead and send them our way. You can follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We do not have TikTok yet because I don't know how to TikTok. So thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week.